Alright, you know how it's gone. Beans. Map. Main character, Nina. Support character, Flake. Meets our nature navigator, Oakley. Our little buddy. And the blizzard crystal that was either stolen or disappeared, that we don't know. They have a quest to find it. So if you need better catching up, I suggest this video, or you can watch from the beginning if you want for all the juicy little extra bits, but I'm making this up as I go and changing it as I go, so alright. I'm just going to voice over a speed paint for this one because I wanted to make two little paintings to kind of delve a little bit deeper into what we're doing in the story right now. So I first need to go back and revisit Nina's beginnings in her town and go over a little bit of stuff that I've changed and added. Alright, so Nina is the crystal keeper in her village, which means that she has the sacred job to care for the blizzard crystal and to keep it safe. She'd been chosen to care for the crystal when she was really young by the previous crystal keeper, who was getting too old to keep keeping the crystal. She had also trained her in the sacred grace magic that she uses to keep the crystal. So there was a story that was passed down from keeper to keeper that it was necessary to frequently perform this purifying blessing or ritual to keep the crystal in balance. No one in Nina's village had any memory of it ever having been imbalanced. Some even doubted the validity of the story, but tradition is tradition and the crystal still needed to keep being watched anyway. So Nina performed this weekly ritual and checked on the crystal every day until it went missing. The whole thing starts. So I eventually do want to design a specific ritual outfit for Nina because I feel like they would dress up in a specific outfit. So more about this specific image that I'm drawing here. I really liked the line art that I eventually did for this. That hand, I was having a hard day with hands and with faces, and was having a hard drawing day today when I was making this. I was also drawing it, part of it was during that power outage that I talked about in my post. But yeah, I was having I don't know if I just needed to have warmed up beforehand or what, but I was having a difficult time and I had to refix the angle of Nina's face, and I redrew that hand that's in the closest hand to us. I redo it so many times because I just had a really hard time kind of figuring out how I wanted to pose it. But yeah, I don't know. I ended up really liking the line art in the flat color, but I don't really love how I rendered it. But I just had to keep going. I had to keep moving. If I try and polish up everything to where I'm perfectly happy with it, I've found that usually means that I won't actually finish anything. So sometimes it's okay to put it down and move on, because you're probably being a little bit more critical than you need to be about your own stuff. So that's what I did with this. Even though I'm not completely happy with it, I still think it has the feeling that I wanted to convey, and just kind of a little bit more, because I've never actually drawn the crystal before. So I thought that was important. I have a second drawing for this video as well, with a little bit more story of more present time, though I think that we're still doing the first image, but the second image took faster to make, but it has a longer story. So I'm gonna start talking about it now, and then you'll kind of see a little bit what's going on. So here's the thumbnail that I made for this next image, so you can kind of see there. It's Nina, Oakley, Roots, and Flake entering into a tavern, and we'll talk about that. But here is the little backstory for that. So the next image is Nina, Flake, Oakley, and Roots happening upon their first little roadside tavern alongside the little road that leads to the first town that they'll eventually come across in our story. But for now, they're just at this little tavern/inn. Oakley was hard set against going in. She's a bit bitter toward traditional buildings since they use a lot of lumber. She's a Dryad. But Nina was really excited to see a little bit more civilization outside her hometown, since she's never set foot off her island before, and they ultimately needed to ask if anyone had seen anything interesting lately, since they're trying to track down the crystal. Flake, who has tied a hammock across Nina's antlers to take a nap, is providing Nina the frost that she needs to withstand from the warmth from inside the tavern while being fast asleep, because that's just what she does. And Roots is just happy to be included. You can see him here. But as soon as they enter, they notice that something is a little off. No one's speaking to one another. They have like a darkness in their eyes and they all look really miserable. Nina approaches individuals to ask them questions, but they turn to leave when she nears them, and some of them just ignore her completely. As soon as she mentions the crystal in one of her questions, though, everyone turns to look at them. They have angry looks and they all move to throw Nina and Oakley out of the tavern. Back in the snow, Oakley doesn't seem fazed, but Nina doesn't think that that could be normal. She could just feel that something was wrong while they were in there. And Oakley just wants to move on, but Nina pushes for them to stay, at least until she's sure that she can't do anything to help, because she just has a feeling. Flake is still asleep. Nina could feel the imbalance in the air and feels compelled to purify the area with grace magic that she uses for the weekly crystal rituals. She feels the need to find the source of this imbalance. So thinking that it must be coming from inside, she grabs Oakley's arm and heads back in, and everyone inside is ignoring them again. Paying more attention now, Nina follows the trail of the gloom that she can feel leading from the door to one of the stools by the end of the bar. It looks unusual compared to the rest, gray, severely cracked, with an ominous feeling around it. Deciding that it must be the source, Nina begins to purify. The people in the tavern react and start to angrily advance to stop Nina, but Oakley stands to defend her, pushing the people back. As Nina finishes the purity blessing, the darkness lifts from the eyes of the tavern goers. The people look a little confused, but go back to what they were doing, only now they have a bit of cheer and warmth in their faces. Then Nina explains to Oakley about her keeper role and how she hasn't been able to care for the crystal, the story that she'd been told about keeping the crystal in balance, and that in its imbalanced state, it must be leaving a cursed trail behind it, another trail for them to follow. And more about the second image. It was an interesting thing to draw reindeer legs from the front. Like I said, when I originally drew Nina in the first video, I've not really drawn a lot of animals before and not drawn a lot of deer before. So it's not something that I have a lot of experience with. I ended up just kind of winging it with a few, because there wasn't really a reference image that I could find that was exactly how I wanted it to be. So that was fun. But I think I figured it out well enough. I really wanted to convey how excited Nina was to see more civilization, even though it's just a little tavern. It's just a little inn. There's not a lot of civilization there, but to her it's like, wow, this is so new. And Oakley's just not having it. She's not having a good time because she's not a fan, but she comes anyway. I like to have her hold Roots kind of mommy bear mode, where she's got him and she's like, I'm not letting him go. These people, they cut down trees. But anyway, so that's kind of this image and kind of what I was going for. I feel like the tavern itself, toward the end of the video, you'll be able to see the picture a little bit better, but the tavern itself, the door and the walls, I don't really like the way that I rendered them. I was having a weird rendering day. I was just having an off day, so maybe I'll have to redraw this image one day or something. But I also thought that it would be kind of neat to eventually turn this story, once I can get it kind of fleshed out a little bit better and feel a little bit more confident in it, have that confidence and take it and maybe turn it into maybe a graphic novel or maybe a comic or a web comic. I don't know. I thought that would be kind of fun to do with it because it's a simple story. It's not anything crazy, but I don't know. I think my characters are kind of cute, so I would love to draw them more. Anyway, that is this image. So that's kind of our little story for this episode, kind of what's going on. We didn't really meet anyone new to add to our party, but that has a little bit more backstory. Also, if you've noticed, I also made a little autumnal PNG tuber for autumn because it is now autumn, and I thought it would be nice to have my video borders match the season. I like seasons, so I wanted to do that. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.